You look at yourself the first thing in the morning, but do you know yourself? Your SELF self. Who am I? Who are you? Why did we get born into this world? Where did we come from? Before we were born, where did we come from? Did we just come out from the mom's womb and that's about it? Is that the beginning? Is that the beginning of our life when we came out in the hospital from the mother's body and then we carry on life and finally after maybe 100 years, if you live up to 100 years old, that could be the same place where we end our life, in the hospital. We get buried. 8 feet, ocean view. Do you know what ocean view is? Well, visit ocean view and you know where you would go when you died, when we died. And we have a whole story between the time we get up from the mom's room and the time when we were underground, ocean wheel, where people spray flowers on top, and then that's the end of the story. We'll live from day one to the day when we end. And in between, we've gone through a lot. Different people gone through different environments, different circumstances. In my mind, I always think that when I meditate, I always imagine that everybody has a script in life. You roll your script, you carry all your actions in the script. In other words, you are the script writer of your own life. You are the director, you have been the director of your own life. You are the actor of your own life. And you may not know, you should also be the audience of your own life. If you're an objective, righteous audience of your own life, it would be different if you didn't have any audience. Because when you become your own audience, you will look back, did I do this right? You analyze yourself. So usually people just act, people just wrote their own script, perform it. They never contemplate on what did I do? Why did I do that? If I had to do it again, would I do it this way or that way? If you only look at that when you're on the verge of dying in the hospital, it's too late. It's too late. Because you're already with ocean view. You should look at it earlier in life. When you were young. When you were a teenager. But nobody told you to do so. The Buddha told you, but you never listened because you were not interested in the Buddha's teaching. Or not just the Buddha, many saints in life told you in a lot of writings, but you were not interested. You were only interested in the Epicurean pursuit of materialism. You like satisfaction of your senses. You like beautiful things, expensive things, brand names. You like luxuries. You like fame, reputation. You like people to praise you. You like eating, you like sleeping, you like partying, you like movies, and you just perform. You're not looking back at you. Isn't this the time that we should do something about this? When we come to say, who am I think the question is, I have this body and I have this mind. So my, which I always repeat, which I think for old timers in here is worth repeating because that's how you contemplate. I am made up of my own body and my own mind. If I didn't have a body, I don't have I. If I don't have a mind, then I don't have I. So the body and the mind, a body is a whole mass of molecules that you can see. And we call it material. Material is a combination of molecules. You know that. Let's go to the biology of the body. We have an internal part of the body and the external part of the body. Our internal part of the body is being the heart, the spleen, the liver, the kidney, the lung. You know them because you have them. The fact that you have internal parts of the body, they, all by themselves, they don't work out. Because you need to interact with your surroundings, with the body. When you need to interact with the surrounding of the bodies, what do you need? When you have a company, you set up all your products. Everything is inside. You display in your showcases all this good stuff that you want to sell. Don't you need any salesman and sales lady? You need them, right? So what are your salesmen and your sales lady? Your salesmen and sales ladies in your company interact with customers instead of everything surrounding you. And what are your salesmen and sales lady? They are important, you know. They help you to bring business. And if they don't work well, you lose business. So that means in your business, this sales lady and salesman, they can make you or make your company or break your company. Don't you have to study these salesmen, which are so important? Let's study them in here. Your salesman is your eye salesman, your visual salesman. And then your ears, your sound salesman that interact with the internal environment. And then your nose, that smell. And then your tongue, that taste. And then all your internal organs. Body is just summarizing it. We cannot just go on because the skin has sensibility too. The skin has hairs into it. The hair has a sense of tactility, touch. That's the body. Everybody's body is different. Some people have a good complexion. Some people does not have a good complexion. They're different, but somehow their functions are more or less the same, unless they don't work. If the eyes don't work, the ears don't work, and those don't work, then you're deficient in some. So that's the body. And your body correspondingly interacts to different environments. Your eyes cannot see sound, right? Your eyes can only see material. Anything that is a solidification of masses is material. And then we have the ears that listen to sound, which is a conglomeration of frequencies and vibrations. And then you have the nose, which interact with frequency. And then you have your tongue that interact with taste. Why do I need to tell you all this? You know. The Buddha told me all this, told us all this. The Buddhists get into details of who am I, who we are. The Buddha didn't say, you believe in me, you have complete faith in me, and you'll be excused. Your sin will be washed away as long as you believe in me. The Buddha said, analyze everything in life. Analyze yourself. Do not just build up a blind faith and stubbornly believe in it. You have to understand why you believe in it. So Buddhism is teaching that say, analysis, not just blind belief in faith. So that's what the body is all about. If you know yourself, then you know others. Then there will be no conflict. So the mind, your mind interacts to everything. When we say everything, your mind interacts to visible things and invisible things too. In the sutra, we said there is 18 realms that we, as sentient beings, we attach to, we react to, and we stubbornly adhere to, or we get seduced by, enticed by them. And in the process of this seduction of the environments, or in your wrongful reaction to environments, your mind is the forerunner. Your mind is the manager. And in the very beginning of this session, when Lee talked about the managers is in here, the managers is in here. Have you been a good manager of your own mind? Have you got a good mental manager in you? If you have, how come you become mad? How come you curse? How come you lie? How come you commit all these wrongful deeds that you shouldn't have committed? How come you commit sexual misconduct? How come you kill animals for food? How come you become so selfish? Your manager should be the rightful manager that is flawless, that wouldn't inflict any pains on any others, that will only bring you calm and serenity. Now we talk about this material that relates to all the molecules, the biology. And all this perception, conception, volition, and consciousness relates to the mind, to the invisibility of you. If you memorize this, then in your meditation you can contemplate on it. That's what we call insightful meditation. Or that's what we call vipassana. Meditation has two parts to it, the samatha and the vipassana. The samatha is just to get the concentration, because our mind has not been concentrating. In other words, all our cells have been going all over the place, not organized. Samatha is to organize them and put it under one control. But organizing them is not enough. You need to educate them, and that's a vipassana part of it, of the meditation. So material, we've been talking about it. This material, of course, related to our body. This material also relates to all circumstances that are material, that our mind interact to. Because it's not just me, it's also you. You are a material. This is material. Everything is material. What is not material? So material, in a very restricted concept, is me or you, the body. But in a very wide sense, a comprehensive sense, is everything is material. Now how about perception? Conception, volition, and consciousness. Perception, sensory organs, contact environments. When your eyes see, your ears listen, your nose smell, your tongue taste, and all that, that means your sensory organs are interacting with the environments in all the circumstances. So that's what we call perception. We perceive. That's the first step. Our eyes see, our ears listen. That's the first step. But when you have already done that, when the sales lady have already done that, he's gone through a second stage, which is conceptualization. Conceptualization is when you see a column there, it's a column, it's a rough image of a column, but you still have to conceptualize it. What color is that? It's red, it's round, it's 20 feet. You have to assess it. You will automatically evaluate it. Just as a sales lady would automatically evaluate the customer. This customer I can talk to more. This customer wants this kind of jewelry. This customer does not want that kind of jewelry. You would, when you're in the process of interaction, you assess, you analyze the customers, just as you assess and analyze all these things. As I always give an example, when a young man sees a beautiful woman, not just the image, he would assess. He would say, I loved it. It's a nice body. It's beautiful. Or sexually appealing. You assess it. You attach values to them. You evaluate them. And you don't know about it. When you evaluate, something comes out. You don't know about it. In sound, somebody said something wrong, cursed you. You assessed it, and you get mad. When you get mad, you yell back, you shout back, you kill, you hurt. Because you react to them. Not just responding, you react. When you react, you know there's a difference between reaction and response. Reaction is with emotions, and response somehow is more with rationality. That Buddha taught us to respond and not to react. Respond with rationality. You cannot help responding to things because you live. So, that's conceptualization. You assess that from the memory of the past. You assess that from the expectation of your future. You assess that at the present situation. So you also assess with respect to the past, the present, and the future. That's what your mind do. Your eyes cannot assess past. Can your eyes see something happened 100 years ago or last year? Your ears cannot listen to yesterday's sound. But your mind can. Because your mind can dig out a file and say, this is good music. This is jazz. This is rap. This is classical. Because your mind, it goes back to the mind that assesses all these things, and you attach your original values to them. You stigmatize them. You discriminate them. Here comes a Chinese, this yellow guy. Here comes a black guy. Here comes something I hate. Here comes something I like. So your hatred, your liking, your evaluations, they're all biased according to your previous history. What have you got in your files? What did you get in your archive files of this past? All these biases in the file that you dug out. I only started about, say, I'm a teenager, I'm 15 years old, I'm 12, and how come I'm so biased? I didn't learn anything about bias. How come I automatically become biased? How come I automatically becomes attached to sexuality? How come automatically I like stealing, I like lying, I like cursing, I like alcoholic, I like intoxication? How come I like this? Because that's been in your files. And this file you build up not only for this life. You already have accumulated all your archives since many, many lifetimes ago. Why did a newborn baby, like certain things, love certain things, and hate certain things? Because it's already in his consciousness. So we've been building up files. And somebody's file has they have a very thick file, which help them to be more compassionate. They have a file of compassion. They have a file of loving kindness. They have a file of courtesy. They have a file of piano music. And this life, he's a genius. He's a prodigy. He's a child genius. Because that file is so thick. And what files have you got in yours? You know. So, this is conceptualization. And after you perceive them, you conceptualize them, what do? Basically, you express them in two ways. You express them into actions, or you explain it into speech. And your actions and speech have three natures in them. One, just generalization, good action, good speech. Another, bad action, bad speech. Third, neutral, not good and not bad, which just for the purpose of summarizing. Of course, in between the good and the bad, there's a lot of, between the two extremes, there's a lot of fluctuations. If you use Excel, if you use a computer, maybe you can break them down and say, this is a little bit more anger and this is a little bit more kindness. But just for the sake of talking, there's two extremes, you fall into those two extremes. And if you express them into action, if these actions are not good, what are these actions? Just for the sake of summarization. You kill, you steal, you commit sexual misconduct, These are the actions, generally, right? And if you express these things into speech, what do? You curse, you lie, you tell a tale, you double tongue, you flatter, you know. These are the two expressions. And how about those that haven't been expressed? That's hidden as seeds in your consciousness, waiting to be sprouted. If the circumstances come, they sprout it into either good or bad. Not just bad, they also sprout into good. Not just weeds, they could be rhododendron, azalea, ivy, roses. So every morning when we look at the mirror, we say, this is me. I'm a combination of body and mind. If you know yourself, then you know others. If you know yourself, you know, oh, I have my archive files. I don't want to pull out my archive bad files. Can I pull out all my good files? Yes, you can. And can I build up more good files? Yes, you can. Can I get my files organized? Yes, I can. Can I build up a file of confidence? Yes, I can. You can actually build up your own files. Put away all your file of depression, your file of intoxication, your file of hatred, your file of violence. Put away all those files and just take out the good files. Buddhism, the Buddhist teaching, is to teach us how to build up these good files. Build up these files of enlightenment. Build up this file of courtesy and loving kindness. Build up this file of joy and equanimity. That's that. Nothing about prostration, flowers, burning incense. Nothing about looking for fame or reputation. Fame and reputation, even if you don't look for them, they would come. Why? There's no there's nothing that forces certain acquisition. In other words, if you're not entitled to it, it won't come to you. If in your life you say, I'm poor, it's because of your files of poverty. Because you didn't do you haven't germinated, cultivated any causes that enrich your life to bring you the fortune. You haven't cultivated causes. There's cause and effect. Every file have a file folder. And that file folder is a file folder of cause and effect. It automatically has that file. I always imagine that file is a computer. That computer automatically have a program of cause and effect in it. Whatever cause you cultivate, there's certain effect coming out. Not arranged by God, not forcefully arranged by you. It's by the automatic program that works in cause and effect. If you put in this cause, you have this effect. If you haven't put in this cause, you have no effect. Isn't that scientific? If you're not interested in coming to the temple, you probably were not interested in driving to come to this temple. You probably would not be interested in listening to what's about this temple. Probably you won't be even interested in meditation. So there must be a cause for you, for your presence to be here today. Don't tell me I come for no reason whatsoever. Don't tell me that. There must be a reason. There must be a reason to make you who you are today. And that book is good, I read, by James Allen. As a man think, you are what you think, you are what you thought, you are what you have done. There's cause and effect in it. Every thought, you must be careful of it, because it gets thrown into your file. Every thought cultivated will lead to certain action, speech. And if that action, that speech, it's been repeated, and it becomes habituation, it forms to your personality. When it forms to personality, that's responsible for your success and for your failure. From the first day you were a baby to the time when you were born, if you have 100 years, And maybe you have already walked many miles already. You could be in the middle of the pathway of practice, but it's never too late. The only time when it's late when you're under ocean view. For this life, you're late. You have to start another life in the next life. Even if you have a few days left, those few days are the most crucial for your next life. You can change. You can shuffle your files. Put your files of compassion in front, your files of confidence in front. So it's never too late to mend. Get to know about it. It's late when you don't care about it. It's late when you don't have a willingness to change. It does not matter when you have whether or not you have a willingness to change. Changeability is the law of the universe. Nothing is unchanged. You could be changed for the worse, you could be changed for the better. Which way you choose? Hoping to see you next time. If you don't care, then maybe I don't know. Should I see you in your next life and my next life? I don't know. Well, we must have seen each other in previous lives. Otherwise, you wouldn't have come here.